This watch right here might be one of the most interesting watches you can buy brand new in 2025, and it's under $800. It comes from a company called Venezianico, and the name of this model is Arsenale Bizantino. Excuse my pronunciation of Italian words. I actually reviewed two other models in the same range. One had this ultra black dial, the other one had a meteorite dial, and now we have this brand new version that's available for pre-orders with a crazy engraving all over the case and the bracelet. As far as the dimensions go, they stayed pretty much the same as the standard models: 40mm diameter, 44mm lug-to-lug distance, and about 10mm case height, including this flat sapphire crystal. The crystal does feature some AR coating, and it's integrated into the case pretty well. There are no awkward gaps. You can't really see the edges of the crystal, which to me is one of the telltale signs of a subpar watch. Happy to say here the execution is really good. Now, of course, the star of the show is this case and the engraving around the case and the bracelet. I think there's very few companies outside of Venezianico that can pull something like this off. They're sort of known for their quirky watches with crazy engravings or even pictures on the dial. And this time we got the engraving on the case and the bracelet. As far as the engraving goes, it features sort of almost a three-part finish. So first of all, you have the high polish finishes like the chamfered edges across the case as well as the bracelet. Secondly, you have the raised portion, and when you run your finger over this bracelet, over the engraving, you can really feel it. It's raised, it's not just sort of printed on. I guess it's laser engraved. So that portion, the raised portion, is finished with the satin, and then underneath you have this sort of sandblasted almost finish. So there's a three-part finish to this case, which makes it very, very attractive. I don't mean only in terms of it being a good looking watch, because it is if you like this sort of thing, but in terms of attracting other people's attention. When you have this watch on your wrist, it really shines because of this sort of three-part finish. It looks like it is almost frosted or something like that. It's kind of difficult to describe, and I'm doing my best to show it over video, but really in person, when you wear this watch, it attracts a lot of attention. If you don't like that sort of thing, of course, you need to look at other watches in the catalog, because not only is this sort of engraving and this three-part finish shines in the light, but you also have flat links on the bracelet, which are already designed to catch a lot of light and to reflect the light in an interesting manner. So this is one of these watches that you wear and you will get a lot of attention and you will get a lot of compliments. As far as the fit on the wrist, I have about a 7¼ inch wrist, and I think it wears pretty well. Don't get fooled with that 40mm diameter. It might sound like it's a bit on the smaller side, but it's not actually, because the nature of these integrated bracelet designs is the fact that they protrude, they flare out, which makes them wear larger. In fact, if you have a wrist of, let's say, under 6½ inches in circumference, this watch might be a little bit too large for you, just because of the nature of these integrated bracelet designs. As far as the quality of the watch, the case and the bracelet, it's all executed really well. It feels pretty solid. It's not flimsy in any way. I do have one small negative. It does pull your hairs quite a bit out of the box. It sort of wears in the more you wear the bracelet. It becomes softer and it doesn't pull your hairs as much. But right out of the box, expect a little bit of waxing going on. The other part that I'm not so crazy about is the butterfly clasp without any micro adjustments. I mean, I understand why they did it this way, because when you close the bracelet, when you close the clasp, it looks like one continuous design, which is very attractive. On the negative side, if you're sort of in between the links, you're not going to get the perfect fit. Luckily for my wrist, I was able to get a good fit. I think I removed 3 links or so. And removing the links is fairly easy. You use screws for resizing. So if you have one of these tiny screwdrivers, it's a walk in a park. As far as the other design elements of the watch, you have the crown at the 3 o'clock position. It is a signed crown with the Venezianico logo. You also have, of course, the engraving on the side of the case, but there is no engraving on the sides of the bracelet. So that sort of just stops there. There's also an engraving on the bezel itself, which again plays with the light in a very interesting manner. The case back also features a laser engraving, and it is held together by these 6 screws, so it is not a screw down case back. The advantage of that is the fact that you always have it aligned perfectly. The disadvantage is perhaps this watch features a little bit less water resistance than it would had it a screw down case back. This watch comes with about 50 meters of WR, which is enough for this type of a watch, although 100 meters would have been preferable. Besides the engraving on the case and the bracelet, the other thing that stands out with this model from other models in the catalog is this dial, and actually it's one of my favorite parts about this watch. I think the dial is almost going unnoticed because of everything else going on around it, but the dial execution is actually very competent. You have a gradient going from dark gray, almost black, all the way to a light gray in the center. There's also a sunburst effect going on, which in some watches might feel a little bit too much, but I think in this one it works really well. And of course you have applied indexes for hour marks, as well as the open rail track for the minutes. There is an applied Venezianico logo by the 12 o'clock position, nothing by the 6 o'clock position, except for all the way at the bottom there it says Venezianico, and that's it. There is lume on this dial. Here's a lume shot for your reference. It's okay. Of course, this is more of a dressy timepiece, so the lume is not a priority. The set of hands is fairly attractive, and you can see that sweep of the seconds hand because this watch features a high frequency movement, Miyota caliber 9039, which of course beats at 4 Hz or 28,800 vibrations per hour. It has 24 joules and about a 42-hour power reserve. By all accounts, a very reliable and competent movement, although it does have quite a bit of rotor noise. Have a listen for yourself. You can definitely hear it and feel it in this model. In some models, it's not as bad. In this one here, yeah, you can feel the vibration. It is definitely something to get used to. Overall, I think, as I said at the beginning of this video, this is one of the most interesting brand new models to come out in 2025. Whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, it all depends on your views on this design. I happen to like it. Would I choose this over the standard model? Probably not, but that's because of my personal style. I prefer something a little bit more conservative, even though those watches are already flashy enough. This one here just takes it up a notch to another level. However, if you prefer something a little bit more different, a little bit out of the box, well, now you have another option. A very competently put together watch with attractive looks and overall a pretty good build quality. And that's it for this review. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the YouTube channel for more videos like this in the future, and leave a comment in the comment section below. Let me know what you think about this watch. I always enjoy reading your comments. By the way, Mr. Bond is right here beside me. He's sleeping on the floor, or more specifically in his bed on the floor, and you might hear some of the snoring in the background, so apologies for that. Thanks for watching this video, and we'll see you next time. Bye.